The following video is intended for general audiences. It may contain coarse language, bad puns, suggestive images, and bad advice. It probably just contains retro computer crap. But don't try this at home, even if I tell you to. Hey there. So I wanted to do a quick presentation of a project that I've been working on for quite a long time that I think has finally worked to my liking. So what you see on the screen here is a Tron themed image of the raccoon girl. Yeah, furry, blah, 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 wah, wah, wah. Anyhow, so for quite some time now, I've been trying to get this image to glow because that's what a Tron picture should do. Glow, yes. So I've tried a lot of different things. I tried painting it by hand with glow-in-the-dark paint. I do not have the talent for that. I made a right mess in my first attempt. I've also tried spray painting over the entire thing with glow-in-the-dark paint. Well, that just made the whole thing glow, including the black. Mostly because the vinyl is that it's printed on is reflective. I tried the same thing on a poster, and it wasn't too bad. Anyhow, what else did I do? I actually got a laser-cut stencil made so that I could try the spray paint again. But, oh, well, the stencil was like 3% off and nothing lined up. So, yeah. Anyway, the last thing that I tried and I thought was going to kind of have some form of success was glow-in-the-dark vinyl. So this glow-in-the-dark vinyl is actually really good stuff. It's used for making iron-on clothing effects. But, I mean, it was super duper bright. I used it for my Nightmare Moon shower curtain, and this is a picture right out of my camera showing how well it's glowing through the print, through the fabric of the shower curtain. Really, really happy with that. However, when I tried it on this, unfortunately, it didn't work very well. It kind of worked. You could see it if you really got in there. Or if you supercharged it with a UV light, which I like to do because things light up, then it would work. But just general ambient light in the room wasn't enough to charge up the glow vinyl, which I had mounted behind the canvas. I even had like a tinfoil mirror behind it to try and capture more light. And unless you supercharged it, it just wasn't enough. So while browsing around, I came across... Oh, sorry, that's a picture of the glow vinyl there. Oh, somehow it skipped over the picture it was supposed to. Why is it skipping? Oh, good lord, seriously? Weird. Oh, I know why, because I renamed it after the slideshow started. Ha 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 ha. That might be out of luck. Well, let's see if I can skip ahead. No. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, well, you won't see the Amazon picture. You just have to trust me. Big deal. So anyway, this is the glow vinyl, which I have backing the canvas inside. And so at this point, I've taken out the reflective tinfoil mirror that I put in, because what I found on Amazon were these cheap glow-in-the-dark garden lights. They're not glow-in-the-dark. They're solar-powered lights, just like you might find. But they came with like a string of 120 LEDs. And I thought, oh, well, there's an idea. If I just replace that string of LEDs with the spare ultraviolet LEDs I've got left over from the nail dryer that I blew up, that was a fun project, then, they'll supercharge the glow paper and I'll get the effect I'm looking for. Hooray, yes. But, I played with that for a little while, and this fairy light system, as they call it, only puts out 1.5 volts and somehow drives 120 LEDs. That blows my mind. But the ultraviolet LEDs need at least 3 volts per LED, and they're wired in series, which means it needs even more. To run the whole thing takes about 100 volts, and the small boards that I had managed to disconnect still took 9. So it's like, okay, that isn't going to work. Tried a Jewel Thief. I thought, oh, Jewel Thief, yeah, that'll do it. Well, I can't make a Jewel Thief work. Screw that. And then I had a funny thought. I thought, well, can these ordinary visible light LEDs, I mean, do they charge the glow paper? Because it's supposed to respond to visible light anyway. And yeah, they do really well. So I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, let's just do that. So there we go. I went ahead and decided what I would do is I would build a board, a reflective board, mount the lights on it, have it sit back at the top of this frame, and then leave the glow paper in there, both to provide some glow when the solar cell runs out, but also to just diffuse the light and hopefully spread it out a bit, make it even. There's one last thing I want to say before I move off this slide, and you'll see that I got this printed at DeviantArt. I was really happy with the frames, really happy with the prints, really, really, really unhappy with the service, and I will never, ever, ever, ever use them again. They redid their website 6-8 months ago, something like that, and introduced a bug in the print system. So I obviously, from my story, I've printed this thing out like 3 times. And the last time I printed it to do this new attempt with glow paper, it came out wrong. It was super duper dark, and since it had been about 3 years since I'd last printed it, I spent some time trying to figure out what was wrong. And eventually I figured out, oh, it's printing the first version that I uploaded like 8 years ago, and not the brighter version that I uploaded for printing specifically. And so, I told their support, I said, hey, you guys, you got a bug on your website. You're printing the wrong version. Oh, no, it's CMYK is your problem. I'm like, it's not CMYK, guys. But no, they were insistent. It was entirely my fault. It was all on me. I actually uploaded a specific image to DeviantArt, and I'll link that below, which demonstrates the problem. It's just a big old smiley face, and when you click print, it switches to a version that says, haha, this is not what you meant to print. They refused to look at my reproduction case. To this day, months and months later, and with 2 other friends filing tickets on my behalf, they have refused to look. It's just, screw you, DeviantArt. I hope you sink. Anyhow, let's see here. So moving on, what do we got? Okay, so on the next frame, there we go. I just took a piece of cardboard out of an old box, lined it with the same tin foil I'd been using to make a bit of a reflective mirror for the lights. And from there, here is me stringing out the LEDs. So there's supposed to be 140 LEDs. I didn't count them, but I did start to run out of space towards the top. I thought it was going to be denser than it was, but I still made it line up okay, so that's fine. Just a little gaffer tape around the sides to hold it down, a little bit of packing tape in the middle to keep it kind of flat. I didn't want them bouncing around too much. Nothing fancy. And when it's lit up, it looks like that. I was hoping it would be a little more random than that, but I didn't take care to ensure it as I was laying them out, so we get these regular patterns. But it turned out not to matter, as you're going to see very soon. So this is just powered off the solar cell. There's a small battery which the solar cell charges, obviously. Anyway, so here it is installed in the back of the frame. And, it's just friction fit, just sits in there. And the little black box at the top there is the actual control box. And so here it is lit up, but in the light, so you really can't tell that it's lit up. So here it is in the dark, maximum brightness, which, as you can see, it lights quite well. A little too well, in fact. I really wanted a more subtle effect. To be brutally honest, all I wanted was the black to stay black and the lit parts to light up, but I'm not pushing for that. But I did want a more subtle effect than that. But the good news is you can see that it's reasonably even. You don't see any striping where the LEDs lined up, and that's what I was going for, so huzzah. I then went into the control box and installed, very hackily installed a potentiometer. Or a potentiometer, as I heard it said recently. And this just gives me the ability to adjust the brightness. This is just hooked in series on the output line to the LEDs. And it's just a crappy little pot that I had laying in my box. And the hole, well, it was 2 a.m. when I did this, so I couldn't activate any power tools. So I just melted a hole with the soldering iron and glued it in with some Gorilla Glue. We will see in a day or so if the Gorilla Glue got the knob as well. Hopefully not. And then you can also see the two power buttons there. One is just on off, and the other one is mode. It's got 8 different blink modes, but I only care about on all the time. And I needed a way to mount the solar cell to the frame, so I found this bracket in my box of parts. And it had a little kink in it, so I sort of shaped the kink to fit the size of the solar cell's mount. Bolted it down. I used a washer on the one screw because it was just long enough that it looked like it might peek through the frame, and I didn't want that. Also, I only had one washer that fit, so I didn't put one on each screw. Whoops. But as you can see, it mounts in pretty nicely. And then, although I don't have a picture, I just routed the cables to the back, looped them so that there was enough slack that I could pull the solar cell off, but not enough for it to dangle down over the wall. And there we go. That's the final. I don't know, I'm pretty happy with it. It's with the potentiometer turned down, it's a very subtle glow effect. You don't really see it until your eyes adjust to the light, which is precisely what I wanted. And I know you want to see it, but my camera is not sensitive enough to show it because it is way dimmer than Nightmare Moon. But I took a picture anyway, and then I cranked the gamma and the brightness and the contrast for you. And this is the best picture my camera phone will take. Yeah, but although you can just sort of barely see her there, I'm willing to bet that when this is compressed for video, it's just going to be white noise. But that's okay. I promised you could see it, and now you have. So yeah, we're going to have to see how well it works. I'll post links to the stuff I mentioned, the vinyl, the glow vinyl, the fairy lights, and my DeviantArt demonstration. But you know, it's only been a couple hours. I have no idea if those fairy lights are actually any good long term, but so far I'm pretty happy with the result, and I think I'm going to do a project with the second one. I mean, 2 for $20, that was pretty darn good. I'll try to do the other project, I don't know, maybe live or something next weekend. I don't know, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave you now. Y'all have a good day. I got to work in 4 hours.